Yo, what's going on guys? Today we have a quick updated Warlock build for Destiny 2 Witch Queen Season 16, and this is your Well of Radiance build that you can use in raids, GMs and all that sort of endgame PvE. But it has been a while since I last covered the Warlock's Well of Radiance build, so today I'm updating this build to the new current season for those who want an updated Warlock support build to play either solo or with a team. Now before we start, this video is sponsored by USMMO, so be sure to check them out below if you're looking for cheap Destiny 2 Silver along with my discount code provided. And if you like this one, then be sure to leave a rating, comment, subscribe and share for more. And now without further delay, let's get straight into it. So this is your updated Warlock's Well of Radiance build for Season of the Risen, and it has been a while since I last covered this one, so I have finally got around to doing it, which a few of you guys have requested I make a video on this one in the past for this season. So here it is. And as I like to update old builds to the current season, as well as making new ones, well, you'll be able to find them all in the playlist down below if you want to check them out later. But for this one, you will be supporting your allies more in the end game by giving them overshields with grenades, giving them a DPS buff with the Well of Radiance, and overall just supporting them as well as yourself, which will make PvE content a lot easier for everyone in your fighting regardless. Now this is going to be a really short video today, as it is just an updated build to follow up with the current meta and mods for the season. So how you'll use this build is first place down your rift to spawn a void elemental well, after killing an ad of course, then pick up that well to get ability energy, volatile rounds and damage resistance, and then just be on your way killing everything with your void weapons for effective ad clearing, and using your grenades, rift and super when you need to for staying alive more and increasing your DPS. This build is most effective when you're playing with a team, because allies who stand in your rift with you will give you that rift straight back before it goes away, in most cases. Now as this is a quick updated build video, let's get straight into the setup. So as always, starting with the loadout, you ideally want to use void weapons if you can. That is if you're going to use the void elemental wells with volatile rounds, which is really effective for ad clearing, but if you're not, then you can really use anything of your choice. A divinity is also a good option to give allies that 30% extra debuff, because then they would also get your Well of Radiance for another 25% on top. But for the subclass, we are going to be running the Well of Radiance Dawnblade middle tree, which is one of the best supers in the game when it comes to staying alive and dealing extra damage. But you will also get a grenade that you can charge and then convert that to a healing one to give you and your allies an overshield. And I do use this pretty much all the time because it is really effective, but then I also have a healing rift with this, as well as a solar grenade. For the exotic armor, you can use Phoenix Protocol to get up to 50% of your super energy straight back when killing ads while standing inside your well. I use this all the time in GMs and master activities, but if you're going into things like a raid or a dungeon and you're using your super during DPS phases on a boss, then instead of using Phoenix Protocol, you'll want to swap to Lunafaction Boots, so you can increase the weapon reload speed for everyone to increase that DPS further. So for this build, you want to adjust the mods to suit both exotics, because you will want to swap between them during activities. Now for your main mods, first up we have Reaping Wellmaker. That is to spawn a void elemental well when getting a kill after using our class ability, which we will get back fairly quick if you can get your allies to stand in it with you. But we will be using those void wells on Well of Tenacity for extra damage resistance against combatants, and then we'll also be using volatile flow to make our void weapons more lethal, which is really effective for ad clearing, especially with void SMGs or pulse rifles like Grid Skipper and the Funnel Web. But you don't have to use these if you don't want to. Next though, I went with Elemental Charge to become Charge Light when picking up Elemental Wells, and we will be using those on High Energy Fire, just for a little extra damage. But again, you really can swap this out to whatever you prefer, but since Protective Light got nerfed, we won't be using that anymore. Now just bear in mind though, that High Energy Fire doesn't stack with Well of Radiance, so you'll want to use that when you're not inside your Well of Radiance or Empowering Rift. You could go with Solar Elemental Wells and use a Font of Might on a solar weapon like a Sleeper or Galley, so that is another choice, and that will stack with the well. But for me, generating Solar Elemental Wells on a Warlock just isn't worth my time. But if you guys want to run those sort of mods, then you can, and just make those changes to suit your playstyle. For the normal mods, starting with a helmet, we have our Heavy Ammo Finder. Then in the gauntlets we have our champion mod, followed by our damage resist mod in the chest, as well as our reserves. Then in the legs we have our scavenger mod, and lastly for the class we are using the Lucent Finisher. One of the best seasonal mods in the game right now for endgame PvE, as you will get that infinite heavy ammo by just finishing a champion one after another. For these stats I'd go with discipline, but that is down to personal preference as I love my healing grenades on a warlock, but you can also go with intellect and recovery. Ideally maxing out those three would be the best stats for this build. Now you can make changes to the build, it doesn't have to follow the exact setup as mine, because to be honest I prefer this setup when playing a Warlock Well right now, but my build here might be your worst build, and your worst build might be my best build, so in the end it all comes down to personal preference and what you prefer to use. But the base setup of this build, you really only need either a Phoenix Protocol or a Lunafaction Boots, and ideally the Lucent Finisher for this season. But overall this build is going to always be one of the best Warlock builds in the game, which doesn't require any mods at all to use, just the subclass and the exotic armor. But guys, that is your new updated Warlock Well of Radiance build to use inside of Destiny 2 Witch Queen Season 16 or Season of the Risen. Next, as always, be sure to view the full playlist for more top best builds to use in Destiny 2 for 2022, and let me know down below what you think of this build, and would you use the Warlock Well of Radiance build over Void 3.0? And if you would, where would you use it? But guys, I've been Divide, thank you so much for tuning in, have a good one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care guys.